My name is Nicole Hagley. I'm a lifelong citizen of the state of West Virginia and current senior at Shady Spring High School. I was invited this evening to express an idea, a thought, an opinion on how to better the state of West Virginia.
As we have progressed over these last couple of days, that we are able to speak candidly and honestly and respectfully. Because in the end, all we want is the same thing. We want to make sure that West Virginia and West Virginians have that bright future that we all deserve.
I'm a teacher, and I believe that change in education comes one classroom at a time, one teacher at a time.
It's going to be interesting what Roy Lee has to say today. I have no idea what it is, but I bet it's going to be good.
What do we do with those extra sales tax? Education, education, education.
I suggested to Jack Kennedy and Welch that we should go to the moon.
1965 was my first year of attending an integrated school, Lester Elementary. It's during that school year that we also entered into a new Lester Elementary School, in which I was selected to be a part of the school choir for the building dedication. The school song for the official dedication was our current state song, "Old Those West Virginia Hills." Those words have stuck with me, and it is from that moment in time and words from that song that I would like to speak today. Words like "How Majestic," Prince Emmanuel's Land.
But once we got here, nobody ever wanted to leave.
Is give young people something to feel good about, to feel pride in this great state, to understand what it is to be a West Virginian.
And it's my hope that maybe there's one person in here who heard this evening that's changed and can take that message of love and share it. And so we've made some change in West Virginia, and let's hope that spreads.
Scott Hill is the chairman of the Rocket Boys Festival, and he is also the co-founder of West Virginia Speaks Up. Scott, when you talked today, you talked a little bit about people becoming involved. People like to talk, they like to express their ideas, their opinions, sometimes their criticism. But if we're to make this state better, what should people do?
Well, just get involved in your community, help someone. Actually, start by opening the door for someone. Because once that happens, it starts to get contagious. Once you start helping someone else out, I think it gets contagious. Then, hey, join a club, do something to get out there. But every day, consciously think, how can I better where I live?
How did you come up with this idea about West Virginians speaking out and talking about their ideas and expressing their opinions?
Well, we have a lot of information coming out of Washington, D.C. that we waiting on them to help us. We keep waiting for someone else to help us. We got to quit. We got to quit that. I don't know when it started, but West Virginians have always been able to do it themselves, so we need to get back to that. We can't wait for other folks to help, because we're 48th in line. A lot of stuff gets taken by the time you get to the 48th or 50th person. We need to do it ourselves.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rainie Thomas is an author, a singer, actress, a little bit of all of it, but obviously involved with the fine arts.
Yes.
So let me ask you this question. If we are to make West Virginia a better place to live, a better place for our citizens, what role do you think the fine arts should play in that?
I think fine arts is the foundation for people being creative and expressing themselves. Once you get people involved in fine arts, they find a place to put their ideas, and it creates value and it creates pride, especially when they see that they are part of something much bigger than themselves.
So many people want to do that, but they don't know how to go about doing it. They don't know who to approach or who to talk to. What is your recommendation?
I recommend you just start getting some resources from the library. I recommend going online. I recommend finding some of the fine instructors and teachers that are here in the community. They're just a wealth of information.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Fred Sims is Bishop, Heart of God Ministries, and Dr. Sims, a couple of questions. The first one, if we're to make West Virginia a better place to live, what role do you think the church should play in all of that?
I think the church has to play a major role in all of that. The church, to me, is our greatest communication in the midst of the community. And again, as I just forestated, I'm a firm believer that the church is the community is the church. And we need to be more aggressive in making sure that we prepare our people, from our children all the way through the senior age, to be involved in working in the midst of our community, to make our young children become productive citizens in society.
I know one of the things that you are concerned about, among many, is the problem of teenage pregnancy.
Yes, sir.
And it's one of those things that it's almost become of epidemic proportions.
Yes, sir.
How can we control it? What do we do?
I think we need to do a greater job in educating our children. And again, the responsibility need to fall back even more so with the church, that we need to teach the church values, what the Word of God teaches us concerning these particular problems. But at the same time, as I forestated again, that a child's brain is 75% developed by the age of 3. We don't need to wait till they get 12 or 16. We need to start doing this when they're 3 and 4 years old.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Holly Clark is the program director for Telework West Virginia. And Holly, first of all, tell us a little about Telework.
Sure. So telework the concept is that we're enabling folks like you and me to work from our homes or work from a remote location that has broadband internet access.
Okay, so many young people today want to head to the big city. They leave West Virginia. They say there are not opportunities. But by working out of the home, we've actually created more opportunities to keep people here, right?
Absolutely. Or even attract, let's say in DC you would have someone who's tired of the rush, the pace of the city and wants to move to West Virginia. There's a lot to be offered here in our state. A radiologist could sit in his home and read scans, you know. So it works both ways. It certainly provides more opportunity, yes.
What about those people that might be somewhat intimidated by technology today? Are there opportunities for them? How do they start?
Well, Telework West Virginia is about educating those folks that may not have the IT skills required to work from home, because you're right. There's an entire infrastructure that you need to build your home office to make sure it's secure, you need secure internet access, etc. So we're trying to help people learn about that if they need that help.
All right, we had a little background noise, so I'm going to ask the question again. What do we say to the people who are maybe a little intimidated by today's technology and don't know quite where to start?
Sure. There are a lot of technology issues that you need to be aware of, and if folks feel that their IT skills are lacking, we do offer training. So that's part of what Telework West Virginia provides. It's training, IT training, basic IT training, and also arming people with the folks knowledge that they need to be able to work from their office, secure broadband internet access, etc.
Very good.
Thank you.
Dave Trot is the Public Relations Director for Raleigh County Schools. And Dave, being a young guy yourself, one of the big questions that so many young people have is, there's nothing here in West Virginia. There's nothing where I have a future. I need to leave. How do we address that issue when people have those concerns?
Well, I plug into that. I'm what you would call a millennial. Those are people born between 1980 and 2000. And a lot of those people get labeled as lazy, or they get labeled as apathetic, when really I think the case is a lot of our educated people just simply can't find jobs here. They have to go elsewhere, and a lot of that has to do with the value we place on experience. And I think that it is valuable to place an emphasis on experience when hiring somebody, especially for an upper management type job. But at the same time, I think we need to give people a chance. And I plug in and have friends and know a lot of people who are just getting out of school, very capable of doing important jobs, who just simply can't find it here in West Virginia. And so changing that mindset employers, I think, is the first step.
What about the young people who literally have to sometimes get into a field in which maybe they're not even prepared? Do you think they need to just start out anywhere to kind of get the ball rolling?
Well, I think that's the tough part. You know, it's said, you know, sometimes you fight for a dream and sometimes you have to let a dream go. Well, I wouldn't say you let a dream go. I think sometimes you have to embrace the plan B. And I think that's something that my generation is starting to figure out now that we're getting into the workforce and figuring out, you know, I'm not going to be able to do exactly what I thought I was going to do, but I'm going to do something else kind of close, and I'm going to make it something I enjoy doing.
As someone who is now involved with education, do you feel that we are sending the proper message to the young people in this state as to what to expect in the future?
I think we are, especially at the public school level. I think that we're training our kids better than we ever have. Now at the collegiate level, that's where I think maybe the mindset needs to change just a bit. I was in journalism at Marshall University, and while I loved the program, when I left the program, what I expected journalism to be and what it actually was were two different things. So I think whenever we can change that in higher education is when we're really going to make a difference.
Good deal. That's it. This is Robbie Moore. He's a local artist here in southern West Virginia, which covers a lot of ground. I know you're involved in many different projects. So many young people today, Robbie, they say, I'm interested in the fine arts, but there's just nothing in West Virginia. How do we respond to that?
Well, there actually is. What I spoke about today was being proactive. And some of that is just doing research. As I said, the most important trait of a proactive person is being informed. So just doing that research, finding those connections within the arts as well as many areas in life. It's about just making connections with people, networking, and that's a great way to find opportunities.
There are so many people out there, young and old alike, who may be sculptors, actors, actresses. They'd like to get involved, but they're not quite sure how to go about it. What do we say to those folks?
Well, just personally, if they wanted to contact me and my organization, we produce many art events throughout Southern West Virginia, Treehouse Arts Ensemble, but also just get involved in your community, because you'd be surprised how many different organizations there are in each community, no matter how small, that facilitate these needs.
I think that is one thing that has surprised me in this state. No matter where you go, you see the talent. Has that surprised you?
No, I'm around it all the time. I'm a resident artist here at Tamarack, so I get to interact with lots of different artists, and I seek them out.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leslie Baker is the Director of Operations for the Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine. Today, during West Virginia Speaks Up, you talked about an organization called Read Aloud. Why that organization, and what's it all about?
Well, I've been involved with Read Aloud for a lot of years, and I've just actually seen by my own experience how effective it can be in the classroom. I think it's active in like 23 counties in West Virginia, and some of those counties have better reading scores than the other counties that don't have Read Aloud. And for my years of reading in the classroom, I've just seen the impact that it has on kids, and one particular incident sticks out in my mind. Several years ago, I was reading to a 4th grade class an adapted child version of Beowulf, and we were coming right to the part where Beowulf was getting ready to rip Grendel's arm off, and there was an explosion in the school. And we had to evacuate, and we had to go to the safe place, which was a half a block down the road. And I thought the children would be all interested in the fire trucks and all that was going on, but they came to me and said, "Can you please finish the book? Please finish the book." And I knew right then that reading aloud to a child was a very, very positive and impactful way of reaching them.
Why do you feel that children don't read today?
Well, like I said in my talk in there, I think there's a myriad of reasons. I think that lots of it is we've got so many other things to do. There's a lot of single-parent homes that don't have books, don't have access, and don't just have time to read to their children. We've devalued education and reading to some degree. Reading in the classroom is all about reading for a test or reading for a skill set. It's not so much about just reading for the pure pleasure of it. And that's really important, because you're not going to do anything unless you really like to do it. So we have to encourage the children and support them in learning to like to read so that they can become good readers.
One other question. As Director of Operations for the Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine, what sort of image do you try to convey to all those people who come from all over the country about West Virginia?
Well, Well, we just don't just try. I think we do a very good job at it. I have some wonderful people who work there for me, my veteran coal mines, to the ladies who work in the houses and interpret the houses in the mountain homestead, because you know we have a pretty high rating on TripAdvisor. People from all over the country get on there and give us reviews and say that we have really opened their eyes to our unique West Virginia culture. They've learned so much about the way it used to be here. And what we found out is people don't have a bad stereotypical image of West Virginians. They just don't know enough about us to form an opinion. So we like to fill that void with as many positive images and thoughts that we can. And so they go away really wanting to come back, wanting to know more. And it's a pleasure to do that. It's one of the reasons I love my job so much. And we had people in there from Kansas this morning, and they were very upset because they had been in Washington and basically got kicked out of town because there was nothing to do. So they'd come here, and they were very pleased that we were so hospitable, and we had just as good a museums and just as good information as they did in Washington.
So the good news today is the exhibition mine is not shut down.
Oh, no, sir. We are open and running and ready for business.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you are.
Dave Kirby. Rick Jones is Raleigh County Magistrate. And Rick, today in your West Virginia Speaks Up presentation, you talked about something called One Voice. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
One Voice is an organization that grew out of Wyoming County because of such a problem in drugs in Wyoming County. It's just normal men and women come together. It has grown from Wyoming County, and now they're located in Raleigh County, and they're moving into Greenbrier County. My experience with them is they'll love you to death, and that's a start. That's an important start to me.
Okay, and exactly what sort of things can they do to make a difference?
Well, you talk about One Voice. I mean, I think it's just somebody to go to, somebody that will sit down with you and listen to you and guide you and tell you there is hope. Give you that there is hope, and don't give up. Just don't walk away from it. They will give you that hope.
Speaking of hope and giving up, as you well know, there are a lot of people in this state, and every state for that matter, that sometimes get a little frustrated with our legal system. Sure. So I'm going to ask you, as a member of that system, as the magistrate, what frustrates you and how do we change it?
Well, one of the biggest problems is repeat offenders. They keep coming back. We see them all the time, weekly or monthly, whatever it may be. And they got problems, you know, whether it's alcohol, or whether it's drugs, or whether it's anger management, but they keep coming back. There's no place to get them help. And that's frustrating. You know, you talk, you know, they complain about the jail costs, and it's overcrowded. It sure is. But putting some people in jail is not the answer. But it's hard to find places to put them, and that's to me that's frustrating.
So it comes back to people just getting involved in their communities.
Well, that's true too. But you know, you have different organizations that will help. You know, you talk about community. We don't do that anymore because of liabilities. You know, but there's places for people to get involved, and they need to step up. And I truly hope they do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Hazel Burrows is with First Community Bank, and one of the things I would like to ask you, money is a problem for a lot of people.
It is.
Balancing the budget is tough. Trying to figure out where the money's coming from is tough. Credit cards can get out of hand. We see it destroy homes. We see it destroy families. It destroys marriages because people don't know how to handle their money. Where do they start?
With your local banker. Start with your local banker. Go in, talk to your local banker. They're experts. They've worked with many people that are having the same problems that you are. So if you're having that problem, if you want to know what you need to do to help set up your budget, they'll be glad to talk to you and tell you how to work toward getting that home loan, getting that car loan, what you need to do with your credit to do that. Set up a savings account for you. It's very simple to do. Talk to your local bankers.
There are also those people out there that say, I can't save. What do we say to them?
If you can save $5 per paycheck, it will amount up. And you won't miss it. Do it auto debit from your paycheck into your savings account. You don't miss it.
How do you feel the economic situation for individuals in this state plays as far as the overall future of the state is concerned? How important is that?
Well, it is important. It's very important. We don't know what's going to happen with the coal mining industry. Jobs are not that available in this area, but they still have the opportunity to keep their credit in a good state, because if they do need to borrow for whatever reason, maybe it's a medical emergency, their credit still needs to be good. No matter, and if they are having a problem paying their bills, come to the bank. Come to your debtor and tell them, and we will work with you.
Very good. Thank you so much.